All right, welcome to the next part of this video demo series for Chapter 9. Um, we've so what I've got now, I've got my Horizon server running on my Horizon app running on a member server. I've got my users and a new group created in my domain controller. And now what I'm going to, and I've created a customization specification. What I need now, and another piece of this puzzle, is a deployment template. So what we're going to do now, still in the vCenter server, is we're going to go to hosts and clusters. I'm going to go to my London data center, my ESX1. I've really only got the one. Honestly, obviously in a scaled implementation, there will be a lot more to choose from. But what we got here, what we're going to do is, let me see, let me go to my summary tab. Actually, no. There we go. It's getting started. Hold on, let me crank this down a bit. Okay, hosts and icons, expand the London data center. Okay, basic task list. Okay, there we go. Basic tasks. This is what I want. Create a new virtual machine. We're going to create the virtual machine, but it's not necessarily going to remain a virtual machine. One of the ways to create a template is to take a VM and clone it into a template, as we've mentioned before. So what we're going to create, so our options here are, we're going to select our creation type, edit some settings, select the guest OS, and so forth. We're not going to deploy from it. Let's see. Create new virtual machine. We're not going to deploy from a template, or we're not going to clone to a template at this stage just yet, or convert a template to a VM. That's kind of a little bit what you do down the road. But first things first, we have to create the VM. Let's see. Select and click next. Let's see. plab sales. Actually, not VM. We verify the London data center. Really, there's only one option. There's only one data center. There's only one host. But if we had to choose from our host, between hosts and data centers, we could do that next. Okay. Yeah, compute resource. Of course, so we've selected our data center. We've selected our host. There's just the only one, so there's not much of a choice to make. In the real world, there would be more options here. Next. We need to select our storage. We're going to put this in the VMFS. No, we don't see NFS or iSCSI because that was a previous lab, and that change hasn't persisted. Okay, let's see. So VMFS, we've got very little space already provisioned, a whole lot of space left. Next. Select our compatibility, and we want to make sure this is compatibility with ESX 6.0 or later. Hardware version 11. Now, for us, now that ESX, all of it has gone up to version 6.7, you might have a longer list of choices to make. Now, 6.5, 6.7, eventually 7.0. If you have to think about backwards compatibility, make sure you understand the needs of your customer. And if you get instructions on how to do this from your supervisor or your team lead, whatnot, follow those. There we go. So this is hardware version 11. We're going to choose the guest OS family. Yes. It's Windows. Huzzah. Now, we are not going to leave this server 2K8R2. No, we want it 32-bit Windows 10, which does exist. and it is compatible with ESX 6.0 and later. So the newer versions, 6.5 and 6.7, have backwards compatibility with 6.0. Let's see. Next, we are going to customize the hardware. Hard disk. We're going to make it a 10 gig drive. We are not going to customize our memory. Now, in the real world, 10 gigs and 10 gigs of hard drive space and a single gig of RAM is probably not a good idea. Honestly, you might get away with that for Windows 7 32-bit. Windows 10 32-bit, to say nothing of 64, really doesn't sound like a good idea to me, but these are our instructions. We're going to make sure that the disk is thin provisioned. Where? Okay, no, 10. Let's see, new hard disk options. Oh, okay, we expand it here. We want to make it thin provisioned. So it's not going to actually take that 10 gigs up right away. We don't have, let's see, we could we could change storage policy, change location. Now, one thing that is different, might be different here. You can decide to store it with the VM or store it in some other location. If you're putting the whole thing in a SAN, this is essentially local storage. If you're putting the whole thing in a SAN, you may want to leave it, you may want to dissociate the VM from the storage just a little bit, but anyway. Okay, so next, ready to complete. Next. And so it goes into VMS3. Yes, all that looks right. Finish. And we're going to give it, ooh, that was nice. That was nice and quick. Boom. Now, okay, now we have got three, we've got this new VM. Okay, so in the real world, you would also need to actually install Windows on this thing, add the VM to Active Directory, that is to say, add it to the domain, install the view agent, because remember, the view agent is the thing that allows a VMware Horizon View, because it used to be called VMware View, now it's VMware Horizons. This is the thing that allows your connection server, your composer, to reach through to that VM and present it to your customers at their Horizon client wherever they are, whether on your local network or truly remotely via a Horizon security server in a DMZ someplace. But we're not going to do that ourselves manually. We know how to install Windows. We know how to add something to the Active Directory. You can look at the instructions for lab for 9.10 to install the view agent. So we're going to convert this. Now we're going to convert this VM to a template. So we're going to right-click it, and we're going to clone to template. Boom. We're not going to put it in the library yet. Let's see, let's call it plab sales T. And click next. We're going to use the same compute source as usual. Compatibility works. Something to pay attention to. This the VMware, etc., vCenter, Horizons, the ESX, vSphere, they'll all do compatibility checks between the compute resource and the VM. And if it tells you that there's a compatibility problem, like, for example, like installing vCenter Server, if you're trying to install it onto a platform which doesn't have the horsepower, it will tell you right off the bat, and that'll give you the chance to change your either re-examine your plan or upgrade the VM that you're using as the compute resource for said vCenter server appliance. Okay, so storage, still VMS3, good. Next. And then finish. And it's going to take, almost immediate. Boom. Wait for the task to complete. Go to Home. Go to VMs and Templates. London. Notice now that my PLab Sales T doesn't look... okay, so I've got my PLab Sales VM, and I've got my sales template. Notice the change of the icon. It's a template, not a functional VM. And that's all we need to do. We could actually still, now say for example, we could maintain this VM as a running VM to bring it up to date. Say for example, if you needed to install software, upgrade something about it, and then if you needed to make those changes to the template, you could then generate a new template from the new version of that VM. So you might not want to just convert that VM to a template. You might want to clone it to a template so you have it there to maintain, and then you have it there to deploy. So that ends this exercise. We are going to move on next to creating desktop pools. So thanks for watching, and we'll be right back.